There we go.
All right, so 3-7, here we go. 1 and 2 in no particular order is the metals and the non-metals. Some notes on those momentarily. 3 is the word malleable, M-A-L-L-E-A-B-L-E. 4 is the word ductile, D-U-C-T-I-L-E. Free state is 5. Periodic table is the star of the show today. That is 6. 7 is noble gases, N-O-B-L-E gases, spelled like the, not like the prize, N-O-B-E-L, prize, N-O-B-L-E, gas, but noble gases. 8 is a thing called metalloids, and then 9 and 10, I mean, any two things that were in there about silicon, it doesn't matter to me. Question about scoring top 10?
What's 4?
4 was ductile. More stuff to 10. Okay, then we cut out a bunch of questions yesterday, and then I cut out some more today, and we skipped to physical property, something like you can observe it without a new substance forming, or observe it without a change in composition. Chemical property is the opposite. You could observe it only if you change the composition, only if a new substance is formed. 15, it's like a repeat of the same stuff. Physical is like an action that would not cause a new thing to be formed, not cause a change in composition. Chemical, it does. In terms of the examples, the physical stuff would have to do with color, taste. When we do the actions like cutting, crumpling, whatever, the chemical stuff would be more like burning, rusting, cooking, baking, stuff like that. 19, make sure in the examples and in 19 that the person is emphasizing that the properties are just like stated as facts and the changes are some sort of action verb, like an ing ending of a verb, kind of verb. And then we got newer questions. So energy is the ability to do work or transfer heat. If you had one of those or the other, I'll take it for a day, but in the long run, I'd like both of those. The book used the word capacity instead of ability. Well, it's an interchangeable word, doesn't matter, but capacity to do work or to transfer heat. Potential energy is energy of position or chemical composition. If you have either of those today, I would take it. In the long run, I'd like both. Gravitational potential energy, do it with a big heavy book. Here's gravitational potential energy. There was some kinetic energy and then some sound energy. But you can also have potential energy based on chemical composition. Something like oil or coal, that has potential energy not because I lift it up in the sky and drop it to heat your home, but because you could burn it because of the chemical composition. And then some people will get mad at you for creating carbon. Kinetic energy is energy of motion. Heat energy is energy transferred from high temperature to low temperature. I'll be a little loose on that word today, but make sure temperature gets in there. It's not energy transferred from high to low. That seems maybe like what I did with my book. It was high and then it fell down low. I'm not talking about height. I'm talking about high temperature hot zones, things flowing to low temperature cool zones. The energy unit for energy, calorie or joule, either one in either spot. And then the Easter egg extra credit point there was that 1 calorie is a match for 4.184 joules. 40. Yeah, I'm mean on the extra credit because it's extra credit. 26 is the heat it takes to raise 1 kilogram by 1 Kelvin. Or you could say heat to raise 1 gram by 1 Kelvin. Or you could say 1 degree Celsius instead of anything about Kelvin. I won't fuss at you over this today, but I will in the future. You need the preposition by. If you use the preposition to, if you make the heat to 1 Kelvin, what is that? What's going on?
Caps out at 1.
Yeah, that's gonna be really,
Really
really,
cold.
really, really cold. That's like 1 degree away from absolute zero. That's not what we mean. If it's 100, we're not taking it to 1. If it's 100, we're taking it to 101 or maybe 99, depending on which way we're going. So specific heat is the heat to raise 1 kilogram by 1 Kelvin. 47 is my equation, delta Q equals MC delta T, and then a little hidden extra credit point on that calories are friends with grams and joules are friends with kilograms. 48, energy can't be created or destroyed. I would like to add on the phrase in the future can change form, but if you missed that today, I can live without it. 49 is just mass can't be created or destroyed, and that sentence can end. And then bonus point, we need to have 3 things: a title, a person, and an equation. So law of conservation of mass energy, along with Einstein's idea, along with E equals mc squared. That's not 3 bonus points, that's like 1 bonus point if you mention all that stuff, and I'm not willing to give up half of a bonus point. Question about scoring, any of that stuff? Okay. So in a minute, we'll do a little bit of a run through of some stuff that's quizzed tomorrow. We're on sort of like a timeout moment right now. There's nothing to read. We're not quite ready for the test. Tomorrow I'll dust off 2 things that we just hadn't had time for. One is going to be an elements quiz like what you've been doing. So tomorrow we'll do elements quiz. I do all 47 symbols. You do all 47 of the words. And if you're interested, I have a practice run sheet that you could take some of those, but not right this second. Second thing we'll do tomorrow is a matching kind of thing on this that I want to talk through in a minute. And I have a practice run sheet for that if you're interested in that. But that's all we're doing. No homework due tomorrow, nothing to read tomorrow. We're just going to focus on elements for a day. And I have practice papers for both of those. In about 3 minutes, I'll read through this for people that are auditory learners and maybe help make some sense out of that. So that's Friday. Grade period ends tomorrow. I need all the homework by then. We can do a homework run once the recording is not happening. Then Monday. Monday would be a non-quiz day with just trying to get through any homework questions we have. So the newest homework that comes out of today, that's not due tomorrow, it would be due Monday to start the new grade period or new midterm start. There's a 1 from AA to HH, a 2, E to F, an 18 to 34 that's going to be a mix of probably pretty easy questions about the periodic table, but some probably harder questions in what they call the general problems, and those kind of recap anything we've done ever in the general problems. And then there's a quiz, a chapter quiz. This, there was just one. Chapter 2 had like a A quiz and a B quiz. This, there's a chapter 3 quiz. The chapter 3 quiz is usually pretty easy. The chapter quizzes, the pain is going to be those general problems. So Monday, we're trying to take that on, and that's all we're doing on Monday. Tuesday, we would take kind of like a pre-test style quiz. I gave you the practice test today. Did the vocab go to 49? Does new vocab go to 49 on your practice test?
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes like who's considered to be father of the nation. Those are old stuff.
Yeah, that's old stuff. So is that like where 50 goes? Is that
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
49 is the law of conservation, probably.
What is chemistry? Oh wait, then it's 48.
Yeah. What are metalloids?
Yeah,
Where melt-
where metalloids.
Wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
That would.
Slow me down. Yeah, 48 metalloids.
Yeah.
Okay, so the quiz on Tuesday is now what we're up to, because Monday was homework day. The quiz on Tuesday is those 48. I'm going to sprinkle some extra credit. You could throw these on your practice test, because that should be handy. I would keep the Einstein one from today. I would keep that calorie gram joule kilogram thing from today. I'd keep that 4.184 thing from today. Let's go somewhere in the area of the 22 to 29 zone about that physical chemical. Is that where the physical chemical is?
Yeah.
So if you give me 2 bits of evidence that something's chemical change, can anybody give me, I want these specific 2, but we'll brainstorm them out. What's evidence of chemical change?
Color change.
Color change is one of my 2.
Rusting?
I like that, but that's not one of my 2.
Isn't that like a smell?
Yeah, the root cause of the smell,
Turning into a gas?
gas produced. So the 2 evidence that, my 2 favorite evidence that it's a chemical change is color change and gas produced.
I didn't get a practice test.
Oh, I was wondering why.
Oh, yeah.
It had
I
to work
remember
through
too.
you.
And
You're
no, you put it in the middle of us.
You're the
so I
road
just took
captain,
it.
so you just took over and stole her
Yeah.
practice. She's being very aggressive with you
I
today.
am.
She's throwing stuff at you first and then taking your papers second. It's
Yeah.
getting out of control.
Yeah.
A little bit of element trivia back on 15. I don't think this is up to date anymore, but I'm going to go with the numbers on my paper because it is how it is. Anybody remember element trivia from your reading, how many there were when they wrote this book? It's 111. Periodic table I just handed you, does it go to 111 probably?
Yeah.
All right, so as of the writing of this book, it was 111. The book is old. I'm sure there's more than 111 by now. So one point for that. Another point off of that is that 90 of those are naturally occurring. The other ones are man-made. The naturally occurring may or may not be different. More of the new elements I would expect to be man-made, but they might discover more natural ones. I don't know. I don't really keep up to date with the periodic table day by day. Periodic table should have its own TikTok page. People could, update you through that. Maybe it does. Who knows? People do weird stuff. But there's 90 naturally. I'm going to say that for a bonus point. Back to the area around number 1. There is a 4th state of matter. Is plasma. So if you mention plasma, I'll give you a point for that. One more point in that zone. Whether you're solid, liquid, or gas depends on 3 things. Temperature is 1. Pressure is 1. Molecular properties is the hard to remember 3rd one. So whether something's a solid, liquid, or gas at any given moment depends on temperature, pressure, and molecular properties. And then one more bonus point. Lots of bonus points. I'm just like a parade. I'm just giving candy out. Does or doesn't matter, all matter exists in all 3 phases? Does not. What counter example got mentioned back on day 1?
Sugar?
Sugar does what instead of melting? Turns into a tasty thing, caramel. So that point is all matter doesn't exist in all 3 phases, and that sugar caramelizes instead of melting. Question about the plethora of bonus points there. Yep.
What was the first one on the periodic table, not the 90 or 90?
111 total. As of the writing of this book, 90 of those 111 are naturally occurring.
Okay. And what was the one about joules again? 128?
4.184 joules makes 1 calorie.
4.184.
4.184 joules makes 1 calorie.
Okay.
Question on any of that? I think the rest of that is manageable. I gave you the periodic table just so I could show you the thing about the metalloids. So metalloids, if you look where number 5 boron is, you see like a heavier line that goes diagonally over, down, over, down, over, down. That's called a stair-step line because it looks like steps. The metalloids are the ones that touch those steps, but not aluminum. I think you're all aware that aluminum is a metal, not a metalloid. Aluminum is the one exception. So I don't know if this, you can just find it in the book when you fill out the practice test, but the metals are all the stuff on the left of the periodic table, because that's where like silver and gold and stuff all is. The non-metals are over there on the right of the line. And then the metalloids are kind of like an in-between kind of vibe. The metalloids touch the step line, but anytime I ask about metalloids, you have to say touch the step line, but not aluminum. Aluminum's metal, something like that. The rest of that I think is fairly self-explanatory. You can compare the quiz to the reading to the practice test to figure out the format those questions are in. I don't think I need to break that all down for you. Question about any of that life. And then let's look at read through this elements page, because some people learn by hearing. So we'll just do a quick cruise through a thing called elements info. So aluminum, noteworthiness, automobiles, a lot are made of aluminum. Whether you know that or not, I don't know, but now maybe you do. Aluminum is common in cookware, so things Tefal or whoever makes your pots and pans in your kitchen. If it's not super heavy, it's fairly likely that that is aluminum. Argon, I don't have anything that I can personally tell you about argon, so you're on your own there. Arsenic is poisonous, but that didn't make this list. But the positive thing of arsenic is it makes wood so it doesn't rot. But you don't want to eat it because that'll get you. Barium, at some point in your life or your parents' lives or your grandparents' lives or somebody in your family's life, I guarantee you'll have an experience with barium. Someone will. Upper GIs, lower GIs is this thing that you drink this terrible fluid so that they can look at you on the inside with equipment, and what you're drinking is barium. And it cleans you all out in uncomfortable ways that I won't get too gross over your intestines and what's going on. But when the barium goes in, lots of other things come out the other side. It's not an overall pleasant experience, but that's barium. Bismuth, you could know based on what popular product. Pepto-Bismol, that's the pink stuff for your stomach medicines. Boron, I don't have any experience or stories to tell you about boron, so you're on your own with that, and with bromine. But I would think calcium, we all know, is important to what part of your body for your diet and things. That's your bones, that's bone stuff. Cement is made partially out of calcium, because cement is also sort of bone-ish of a product. Carbon, I think 2025 current events, people are always harping about carbon emissions and carbon footprints and carbon stuff. It's because that's fuels. A lot of the most popular fuels are based on carbon, and when you burn them, you get carbon in your atmosphere. Fluoride, fluorine, same kind of thing. I would think we would know about that for tooth stuff. Your dentist probably makes you do fluoride rinses. Maybe your community puts fluoride in the water, and that's somewhat controversial now, but it's good for your teeth. It may be bad for other things. Helium, I don't have anything really to add on there for helium. Too bad they didn't put something about balloons on there, because that would have been a dead giveaway, but it is what it is. Hydrogen, some people think is the fuel of the future, like using fusion, fission, hydrogen, nuclear, kind of stuff. Hydrogen is a potential fuel. Iron is big in Pittsburgh. Iron, a lot of stuff is built out of iron. Iron is a very strong metal, so if you ever see a building getting built, they usually do this metal frame first. Most likely that is iron. Iron's also important to your diet. If you don't have enough iron, you might be passing out. Krypton, I got nothing. Lithium, mental health, maybe you're familiar with that. Sometimes for depression, lithium used to be a thing people were prescribed. That might have been replaced by man-made drugs now more, I don't know. I'm not in the depression world, but lithium is known as a depression drug. Neon lights is kind of a giveaway. Phosphorus is fertilizer to be useful and explosives when people are terrorists, but that's fairly well known and common that phosphorus is both fertilizer and explosive as well as other things. Platinum is crazy expensive jewelry. If you're too rich that you don't want to be bothered with paltry little gold things, you go upgrade to platinum. Platinum is a big deal expensive metal. Potassium, that's bananas, right? Bananas are potassium, I think, so to prevent cramping and stuff. Potassium is nervous system kind of things. So in a minute is sodium, some nervous system kind of stuff. You need sodium in your body. Gatorade is something that replenishes those kind of fluids, cramping issues. Silicon Valley in California, you might have heard of as Computer Town. That's computer chips. Radon is big in Western Pennsylvania. I have in my house a radon fan, and I learned about radon when I bought a house. Pennsylvania has a lot of mining. There's a lot of stuff underground that's happened over history, and there's a lot of gases that come up through that ground. And if you have radon gas coming up into your home, living in a home with radon gas is the equivalent of like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. So you have to get that fixed. Tin is in cans, titanium, you can read that for yourself while I answer this call.
Do you want me to cut it?
Yeah.
Did I get